than 40 years ago, a woman scientist and environmental activist created the Green Belt movement to fight deforestation in her home region in Kenya. In 2004, this woman was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. This was the first Nobel Prize ever awarded to an African woman. Her name was Wangari Maathai.
Today, we are faced with a challenge that calls for a shift in our thinking so that humanity stops threatening its life support system.
15 years later, more than 35 million trees have been planted throughout the African continent. And Wangari Maathai continues to inspire a whole new generation of women who are involved in science or environmental protection as those in her area.
She was a wonderful lady. Even I'm named after her. My mom, I'm called Wangari, and she's my role model.
Today, there are worthy successors of Wangari Maathai all over the continent, pioneers who are charting new paths. Dynamic, enterprising African women scientists are the new face of a modern Africa that is participating in the great upheavals of our societies. But in this competitive world, they're still underrepresented. We followed three of them, respectively specialists in nanochemistry, molecular biology, and astrophysics.
Women don't want to pursue further because they haven't had a role model.
I'm going to create a scholarship for Europeans to come and study here so that we have a paradigm shift.
Être né au Congo n'est pas un handicap. Pour moi, je considère que c'est une chance parce qu'il y a tellement à construire. On a encore la chance, voyez-vous, dans notre pays de pouvoir dire « je suis où je veux, je peux être la première ». Et ça, c'est fantastique.
Who are these women? What obstacles did they have to overcome to reach the top of their game? What impact do they have on their community? Will they be able to find concrete solutions to the major challenges of the 21st century? And what if the Einstein of tomorrow were to be an African woman? About 40% of the population of sub-Saharan Africa lacks access to safe drinking water. Over 40 million people. More than 70 to 80% of diseases in Africa are linked to poor water quality. At Rhodes University in South Africa, a chemist is determined to eradicate this predicament. With a group of students, Professor Tebelo Nyukong is working on an ecological membrane that directly filters water from rivers. A small revolution.
Yes, I lived there for many years. It's like this. It's worse in Paris. Is it?
Today, the mission is to collect some water from a stream not far from the laboratory.
Look at her, Sivu. She's going. She's going. Be careful, you.
It's doable from here.
Let's see whether she can go. I think we'll...
Wait for us. So we'll just scoop some water out of this river or this stream because it's got a mixture of bacteria, all different kinds of bacteria. And then treat that.
The students will then use the collected water to test the anti-pollution effect of their filter under the kind guidance of their professor.
I want them to be themselves. I can only guide them, but they must think for themselves. Yeah, because they have to be leaders, and leaders must be responsible, and they must think for themselves and think logically. Yes. No, I'm passionate about my students and what they do.
Passionate, determined, creative, Professor Nyukong has won awards from around the world and is recognized for her innovative research in photodynamic therapy associated with chemistry.
Why I did chemistry, it's a long story from university. I could have done anything else. But teachers have a role they don't realize they have, or lecturers. I just like my lecturer. Is that a bad thing? I love the way he taught, and I like the fact that chemistry challenged me. I like to be challenged. I actually did mathematics also when I was in university, all to a very high level. I like subjects that challenge my brain, that my brain doesn't rust.
After brilliant studies abroad, and despite numerous coveted job proposals, Professor Tobelo Newcombe returned to Africa to participate in the development of the continent. Today, her knowledge attracts students from all over the world who come to her laboratory to study with her. Her strength, combining innovative research with concrete finality in the field.
When you receive the report,
the finality is actually these membranes. Planning that in the end they're going to be incorporated into something that can be portable, that can be also cheaper and be easily distributed to all areas, even like something that can be maybe this small, so that you can just go get your water from the river and purify it there and there, and you can actually just drink it, it will be ready.
A patent that could very well change the lives of millions of people, but may take a few more years to see the light of day, adding to the already impressive number of patents that come out of University of Rhodes, and international awards that Professor receives for her work.
So what is in here then?
No, these are just the graphene ones. So I was just trying to purify them.
And this one are the nitrogen ones?
No. I realized that research and being able to really think for myself and continuously create things and think outside of what's already been done was what I enjoyed more than, having to do one thing Monday to Friday.
When you teach others what to do, you are learning yourself. You begin to realize how much you know. And let me be honest, I also am learning from my students. That's why I refuse to take credit, because I learn from them all the time. I'm not the one who gives ideas. They give ideas, and I learn, and I get the awards for it. Ha ha. Okay, have you done?
Moi, Prof Tobelo est une personne qui m'apporte plus l'inspiration. Quand je vois une femme atteindre de tels niveaux dans la science, ça encourage, puisque j'ai toujours eu cette envie aussi de devenir une grande femme en sciences.
Her extraordinary personality and her commitment to the cause of women make Professor Tobelo Newcombe unique. She shakes up codes and challenges mindsets in the very closed world of science.
As far as women are concerned, and the term science, I wish we could break it up, because women have made great strides in the biological sciences. There are more women who are at the top in the biological sciences. And also we have to realize that even in chemistry, maybe there's more females actually, even in my group, than males. But what happens is females still have to start a family. They still have that time when they have to be out because of childbearing and so on. So those are the challenges that we face.
A taste for challenges that dates back to her childhood in the heart of a landlocked country in South Africa, Lesotho, a remote land where she grew up and where it all began.
Growing up in Lesotho, where I was, in the rural part of Lesotho, traditionally it's the boys who look after sheep. But if you don't have boys, if families don't have boys, girls have got to do it too. There's no way out. But many families were doing it, but it is only in the rural areas where I grew up, where this was happening. Yeah, so we go to school one day, and the school is in the church. And then the next day, we go and look after sheep. Sometimes you can go look after sheep, and there are also boys there. I don't think at that age you think of yourself as a woman at all. But in retrospect, you realize that you never felt, because I'm a girl, I can't do this. I'm doing what the boys are doing anyway, all the time. You actually become a scientist by just being in the field there, figuring out what is harmful, what is not. Science is virtually understanding who we are, understanding our bodies, understanding our environment, and then probably improving on it.
Professor Tobelo Newcomb has dedicated her career to the development of dyes to detect pollutants in water. This scientific innovation could prove revolutionary for medicine and the environment. That's her ambition. And this is thanks to the activation of laser beams.
Can we use it as a backup? When there are problems, it can take a long time to fix them.
Yeah.
I don't know. But this is a Rolls Royce because it's spectrophysics.
Yeah.
It's the best of all lasers.
Prof is known worldwide, and her research is very interesting. I particularly took a liking to her water research, which is where I use laser in my work. So it's for degradation of organic water pollutants, readily common pollutants from industries, as well as for killing bacteria from water streams.
So she's been all over, actually. Where have you been?
Japan, Mexico, and Canada. In Japan, it was where we were learning how to make these catalysts that I was telling you about, the dyes. In Canada, it was learning how to make supports for the dyes. So it was finding support material so that we enhance the reusability of the dyes as well as the catalysts in general, yes.
When we can afford it, South Africa has a number of bilateral agreements. Sometimes this one is trilateral agreements, whereby there can be exchange of manpower between different universities. So I have these agreements, for example, with the UK, Germany, Switzerland, Japan, China, Russia, name it, Canada now, Kenya. So students spend time in another laboratory. I wish I had that when I was young.
Passionate about her work, Professor Tobelo Newcomb also knows when to leave her laboratory to share the beauty of her country. We accompany her to Addo Park, an elephant reserve next to the university, where she introduces her students to nature.
As usual, typical males.
Always alone.
Yeah. It could be old. Yeah, it's very old. Let me see, how much do they weigh? Do they still write how much the average weight is?
Too. Yeah, it's good to know.
And they used to write somewhere.
And those, they're enjoying the running there.
And they eat only grass and they're obese. So,
and they're obese. So that's a lesson. Don't ever go on diets and just eat leaves.
I'm excusing myself.
It's very important for people to realize that our science is as good as anywhere else, or chemistry, whatever it is. And it's also important for our students not to feel things are better anywhere else. We have a lot of scholarships, for example, for our students to go to Europe and everywhere. And I'm going to create a scholarship for Europeans to come and study here, so that we have a paradigm shift. It should be both ways, because we have better, more facilities. It's the same everywhere. My collaborators are all over the world.
It's a whole way of thinking that needs to be revisited. Thanks to her many talents, the laboratory at Rhodes University is at the cutting edge of technology. But this kind of facility, which requires international partnerships, is still very rare in Africa. In Congo, we have an appointment with another woman of science who tackles infectious diseases every day.
Au moins 4000 personnes en République du Congo ont été touchées par l'épidémie de chikungunya dans le sud du pays. Les autorités sanitaires appellent la population à prendre des mesures préventives, y compris l'utilisation de moustiquaires. Les premiers cas de cette épidémie ont été détectés en janvier dans la ville côtière de Pointe-Noire par l'Institut national de recherche biomédicale de Kinshasa. Depuis lors, les autorités congolaises suivent l'évolution de la maladie.
After brilliant studies abroad, Professor Francine Toumi, much like Professor Newcomb, returned to her home country to found Congo's only medical laboratory more than 20 years ago. To continue collecting data and establish a mapping of infectious diseases, Professor Francine Toumi, despite the risks, goes to the most infected areas.
Bonjour la sage.
Nous allons commencer par là. Et puis nous avons aussi une femme enceinte et les enfants, les malades de chikungunya.
Oh mon Dieu. Oh là là. Et donc là, ce sont deux femmes enceintes.
Oui, ce sont 2 femmes enceintes. L'autre là-bas, elle a 26 semaines d'aménorrhée. L'autre, elle a 24 semaines d'aménorrhée. Elles sont arrivées ce matin. Mais l'autre a récidivé parce qu'elle est avec nous depuis février.
Oh, tu assistes ta maman?
Oui,
hein?
chérie de sa
Hein? Tu as quel âge? Tu as quel âge? 12 ans. Ah, tu es déjà responsable. Hein? Oh là là, c'est toi qui as accompagné maman?
Donc, il n'y a pas que la douleur articulaire, mais il y a la douleur aussi lombo-pelvienne qui s'installe. Et là, on casse les contractions, on applique le protocole du chikungunya et celui du paludisme.
Ok, ok. Vous êtes entre de bonnes mains. Là, je vois vraiment... La recherche que nous conduisons est faite pour la population, pour cette population, donc qui est soumise à différents virus et parasites. Et ici, on le voit très bien quand on regarde cette végétation dense et tous les insectes et animaux qui y vivent proches de l'homme. Donc, on comprend alors combien il est important d'avoir des prélèvements, aussi bien des patients, mais aussi avoir des insectes collectés et des prélèvements des animaux, des rongeurs, afin de faire le lien justement entre les infections que l'on trouve chez l'animal et ce que l'on retrouve chez l'homme, s'il y a transmission ou pas. Donc c'est fondamental d'être ici.
And that's what it all comes down to. Professor Toumi is much more than a renowned scientist. She's also a visionary. She co-founded the Pandora project, which sets up a wide network of international scientific collaborations, bringing to the forefront African doctors.
La vocation est venue en fait au moment du post-doctorat. J'ai aimé évidemment cette période où là j'ai appris à me poser des questions et à essayer de comprendre le pourquoi des choses, que rien n'est donné en science et qu'il y a une réponse appelle une autre question. Et donc là j'ai appris les règles du jeu, on va dire.
But it hasn't always been a smooth journey. Professor Francine Toumi has had to fight traditions and prejudices in a country where roles are still clearly divided. She invites us into her family circle, where they have always supported her.
Joyeuse fête de Pâques.
Merci.
Il faut mettre au four.
C'est quelqu'un mange d'où et ça fout, c'est ça.
Donc il faut fermer. Ok. Alors moi, j'aime bien le couscous.
C'était l'aîné. Parce que j'ai eu 6 enfants et l'aîné, c'est Francine, suivie de 5 garçons. Et elle apprenait à lire à ses frères et tout, très gentille, très calme. En tout cas, c'était une fille très calme, très poussée. C'est une fille de caractère. Ah oui, elle a su s'imposer jusqu'à aujourd'hui. Ah oui. Ça, c'est un exemple à suivre. C'est vrai, on ne voyait que des scientifiques, des hommes et tout, mais jamais des femmes. Mais ce mythe est cassé. Maintenant, c'est normal de voir des femmes faire ce que font les hommes.
Ce que je dis aux jeunes filles, c'est qu'il ne faut pas avoir de limite dans le rêve. Il faut tout se permettre dans le rêve. Et je leur dis surtout, vous n'allez peut-être pas l'atteindre, mais au moins vous avez une direction, une ligne, un but. Et ensuite, je leur dis que la ligne, pour atteindre ce but, le chemin va être difficile. C'est pas vrai. Dire que c'est facile, ce n'est pas vrai. Mais il faut croire dans son rêve et dans ses capacités. Et à ce moment-là, on y arrive. Et je leur dis, bon, ce ne sont pas que des mots, parce que moi, c'est ce qui m'a guidée.
It is through her hard work and deep convictions that Professor Francine Toumi has established herself. But contact with local people remains at the heart of her struggle. We return to Pointe-Noire.
Il y avait eu des collectes comme Najmoul.
Oui, même aujourd'hui. Non, pas avec Najmoul, mais avec Péco. Il est repassé ce matin aussi.
Non, les collectes insectes, je pensais.
On n'était plus arrivé ici. Voilà, les rongeurs et les insectes. Les insectes, on avait collecté pendant la première phase, la première mission. C'était envoyé au laboratoire national, c'est ça.
Et les enfants aussi perdent l'appétit.
C'est la maman.
Oh, madame, oh, les moustiques viennent faire bisous chez vous. Avec plaisir, on dirait. Mais la maman n'a pas, vous n'avez pas été, vous n'avez pas fait chikungunya.
Non.
Pas encore, ou bien vous avez déjà fait.
Non, pas encore.
Donc ça veut dire que vous ne les intéressez pas. Non, mais les gens, il y a des gens que les moustiques piquent plus que d'autres. Hein. On a un goût différent, hein. Une odeur, un goût différent aussi. De plus en plus, effectivement, on voit les scientifiques africains prendre le leadership des grands consortiums. Bon, et en plus, je suis une femme, mais c'est très important parce que on ne peut pas appuyer seul, enfin pas seul, mais l'Africain connaît les besoins, ses besoins. Et donc, avec toute la bonne volonté du monde, on ne peut pas aider quelqu'un contre sa volonté et n'importe comment. C'est préférable que celui qui a le besoin puisse organiser ce qu'on veut lui apporter. Donc ça, c'est un premier point. Donc le leadership scientifique africain devient de plus en plus important et nécessaire, pas qu'important, surtout nécessaire. Et nos collègues non africains le comprennent très bien.
Par là, nous avons les solutés que nous n'avons pas encore installées.
Qu'est-ce que vous donnez en antipalus? C'est
par là.
Et
là également, c'est pour le paludisme.
Tout ce qui part d'ici atterrit à la fin dans notre laboratoire et nous essayons de comprendre tout ce qu'il y a dans ce sang-là.
Un grand merci.
Nous aussi, on vous dit merci parce que sans ces prélèvements, on ne pourrait rien faire.
These precious samples leave the infected areas and head to the laboratory of the Congolese Medical Research Foundation, located in the heart of the capital. But at the time of the creation of this centre, Professor Tumi had to face one major problem: the absence in Congo of skilled workers to carry out the research he intended to undertake. So Professor Tumi decided to invest in the continuous training of laboratory technicians capable of continuing her ambitious research over the long term.
Après avoir ajouté de l'éthanol, vortexé, et puis appliquer avec précaution
630 microlitres.
630 microlitres.
Alors, vas-y. Ok. Tu ouvres bien tes tubes avant pour ne pas faire de gestes précipités.
Oui.
Je peux vous assurer que quand je faisais mon poste de doctorat, jamais je n'avais pensé que j'aurais créé la fondation. Je n'avais pas du tout cette vision ou même l'idée. Mais à un moment, je me suis dit, ma place est au Congo, il faut que je rentre. Je n'ai pas de travail, mais je ne sais faire que de la recherche. C'est plus difficile, il n'y a pas... Alors j'ai dit, je vais créer l'instrument qui va me permettre de conduire de la recherche au Congo. Quand j'y réfléchi, je me dis, mais c'est que t'es complètement fou et ambitieux, mon Dieu. Mais j'ai foncé et j'ai pris le leadership presque malgré moi, mais parce que il fallait le faire et j'ai pas eu froid aux yeux. Alors, on commence par qui? Par toi. Donc Brigitte, tu as combien d'échantillons là?
3 échantillons. Là, étiquetés 1, 2, 3.
Ok. Oui. Donc qui viennent de la surveillance dans la préparation en cas de cas arrivant de la RDC, parce qu'on a juste le fleuve qui nous sépare et on a eu très peur l'année dernière et donc on est en état de vigilance maximale. Et là, tu testes pour Ebola. L'Afrique centrale, il faut bien noter que comparé à toutes les régions en Afrique, c'est la région la moins dynamique scientifiquement. Et je viens de l'Afrique centrale. Et donc, quand on entend critiquer sa région tout le temps, bon, il y a un moment, on se dit, bon, ok, il y a des gens qui sont au Congo, c'est facile de leur dire de loin, faites. Peut-être qu'il y a des difficultés auxquelles je ne suis pas confrontée, que je ne connais pas, donc c'est un peu facile. Et à partir de là, je me suis tue et je me suis dit, je dois aller et je vais essayer de faire. Et après, on parlera, et après, on verra. Et c'est ce que j'ai fait avec la Fondation. Et voilà pourquoi maintenant, effectivement, je suis fière, parce que je sais qu'il est possible de conduire de la recherche de qualité au Congo.
Since those early days, Professor Francine Toumi has come a long way and is now a member of the African Academy of Science.
So you can say that she's present in places where you would find a lot of men. She has built her own career, and now she's a reputable person in terms of her being involved, not just in the foundation that she formed in her own country, but in many other board type of advisory services for many countries, for many organizations, including the Gates Foundation. She's amongst the best of the best in the continent, because obviously she won the Continental Award in Science. Africa's own Nobel Prize in Science is called the Kwame Nkrumah Continental Prize. And clearly that shows that she's in a different bracket in terms of her accomplishments.
Professor Francine Toumi is well aware of the digital revolution that's shaking up the African landscape. Africa plays an important role in promoting women's entrepreneurship. With 27% of women entrepreneurs, Africa is now the world-leading continent. Today, we're at the Information and Innovation Technology Show for Digital Women's Day.
Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il y a d'intéressant?
Ce sont des formations réservées exclusivement aux femmes.
Ah, super.
C'est des formations à courte durée, d'un mois, un mois et demi, où nous recevons les femmes que nous formons gratuitement.
Ah, ça c'est génial.
Donc, je peux m'inscrire maintenant.
Maintenant, mais il faut attendre 2020 parce que ça se passe entre février et mars 2020 pour célébrer le mois de la femme.
Pourquoi pas? Ah, c'est que... Ah, mais ça, c'est très bien, ça. Bon, je continue.
As a woman, scientist and national pride, it's only natural that Professor Francine Toumi is invited to participate in the debate.
Alors, en ce qui concerne la recherche biomédicale, nous sommes actuellement, effectivement, comme l'a dit M. Nkou, nous faisons face à une révolution avec ces nouvelles technologies innovantes. Déjà dans l'amélioration et la qualité des données collectées, des données cliniques, des données épidémiologiques, puisqu'il y a un lien entre les maladies, je travaille sur les maladies infectieuses, mais les maladies infectieuses et l'environnement. Donc cette meilleure collecte des données et gestion des données permet d'anticiper, de modéliser.
Je vous embrasser déjà parce que je vous suis depuis longtemps et j'admire beaucoup le travail que vous faites.
Dans notre hub, on accompagne des idées de création d'entreprises innovantes. Donc on leur offre un espace de travail, des formations, du mentoring et du coaching pour permettre à ces idées de voir le jour et de solutionner des problèmes à Kinshasa, mais en apportant avec comme appui l'innovation en fait, ou la technologie.
La barrière pour les startups, pour le numérique aujourd'hui sur des pays comme la RDC, c'est que l'accès à Internet reste pas forcément toujours fiable partout, mais surtout il est très cher.
Their startup company called Ojia tackles the problems of insecurity in Kinshasa's transport system, especially for women.
C'est vraiment une plateforme qui va permettre à tous, soit grâce à de la data mais optimisée ou à des SMS, de pouvoir vérifier son taxi toute la journée.
On a remarqué qu'il y a une sous-représentation des femmes dans le secteur du numérique et donc nous, on voudrait se porter à initier le jeune fille, à les intéresser, les former pour qu'elles deviennent actrices dans le secteur du numérique.
Et donc aujourd'hui, c'est Kinshasa, demain, ce sera Douala, après-demain, ce sera peut-être même une ville ou une Venezuela. On est sollicité pour lancer en Papouasie-Nouvelle-Guinée, donc du coup, c'est l'innovation africaine, mais qui s'exporte à l'étranger.
In recent years, large multinationals have chosen Nairobi to establish themselves on the continent. New technological companies are worth nearly $1 billion, or 2.5% of Kenya's GDP, which is the highest of the continent. Yvonne Brousse is a scientist, businesswoman, and member of the Next Einstein Forum, who tells us about the Silicon Savannah, the place of all innovations that hopes to compete one day with the American Silicon Valley.
On appelle le Kenya le Silicon Savannah, puisqu'on est dans la savane, bien entendu, et puis aussi parce que c'est un vrai innovation hub en Afrique de l'Est. Ce qui fait en fait qu'il y a une mine de savoir dans la région qui a des effets multiplicateurs pour les pays qui sont autour de nous. Si on est devenu comme ça, c'est pas parce qu'un jour on était les plus intelligents du monde, c'est qu'il y a eu dès le départ un investissement dans l'éducation. Et donc je pense que ces investissements dans l'éducation de base étaient très importants pour faire émerger cet écosystème de technologie et innovation dans ce pays et puis dans la région également.
Major international companies and renowned foundations have long understood the role that women scientists play in the newfound dynamics of the continent. In Nairobi, for the first time, the most promising PhD students and postdoctorates are gathered for the L'Oreal UNESCO Prize for Women in Science, which aims to encourage them in their research and help them overcome the difficulties they face as a minority, an opportunity to exchange about the hardships, but also the opportunities a scientific career has to offer them.
This kind of initiative is good enough to be able to encourage and support women, especially in Africa. Women in Africa and in those days have been pushed to the back, in the sense that we are meant for kitchen, we are meant for marriage. Once the marriage is there, we don't have time for a career again.
I did my chemistry and physics, but when I changed to physics, I found that it's like a man's world. Only few women are there, and I found that as a woman, you have to fight to be recognized. You have to fight to be heard.
I mean, when you see the statistics, you see that they say you have lower percentage of females and higher percentage of men and all that. So it seems like people don't want to get in. Some people, even from young primary school, as it's called in my place, they feel it's difficult, they feel it's for the boys, and then it's not for you. That notion is just there.
I think that science needs more young blood and more females. We have a disparity of getting enough females in physics, especially. And I think that the more different minds that we have in a group, the more creative that group can be.
Being a woman in science has been an interesting journey, and I love it because it's the space where very few people are in, and I want to be one of those people who leave a mark, become a role model for others to see that yes, we can pursue this. I have this desire to just show other girls that you can do it.
I think it means that you're not afraid to take on challenges. You're not afraid of what the future holds. And it provides an opportunity for you to make incredible discoveries that can make a positive impact on the lives of other people.
Everywhere, this new generation is taking the lead, even in areas where they are least expected. This is the case of Zara Rangiamanakoto, an astrophysicist from Madagascar who, at the young age of 34, has managed to introduce her country, one of the poorest countries in the world, into the very closed circle of the International Astronomical Union. Based in Cape Town, South Africa, where she's making her mark, Zara returns to her country on a regular basis to accompany students from the University of Antananarivo, where she studied herself. We accompany Zara on the field, where this radio telescope, still under construction, will one day be part of the world's largest network of radio telescopes. And that's the challenge she's set herself.
Position, resting position. It's nice to be back here, but it's also a reminder that there are a lot of work that await for us as students, because now you have the materials in front of you. By the time you graduate, hopefully, it will be converted and we can use it to do more research. When I come here, I feel proud that I'm part of a very big project, and it's not everyone who has the opportunity to be part of such a project, especially given my background. I would never thought that one day I can be at the forefront at such a big project and even leading the students to accomplish and join the team. Does any of you know what is a star cluster?
But I just want to ask a question. What is in which time we call it star cluster and in which time we call it galaxy?
A galaxy. When you say, okay, so there are three different things. There is star clusters, and galaxies. Any star or star clusters are most likely hosted by a galaxy. But of course, there are also star and star clusters that live in the field. Each of these galaxies, we extract the star clusters, we measure their luminosity, how bright they are, and we attempt to derive their mass, how massive the star clusters, and what's approximately their age. New type of star clusters that were only discovered 20 years ago, which means that there are still a lot of questions that are unanswered. So if you can understand the superstar clusters, we will ultimately understand more our universe. The place of astronomy in Madagascar is seen as a luxury, and in many African countries, simply because there are still so many basic needs such as health issues, what to eat tomorrow. Like in Madagascar, many people live with $2 and $2 per day. So why would they care about something that are pulsating in the sky if there is nothing on their plate? But when you look at astronomy, you should always think at the long-term plans, because once you get involved in astronomy, the more the country invests, ultimately in 10, 20 years, infrastructure will be built. Data need to be transferred, which means that the internet connections and everything, yes, they will be helpful in research, but that can also be used in communication. When I'm here, I definitely want one day to come back and be at the observatory, enter the control room and move this biggest telescope in the Madagascar. That's one of my dreams.
Zara takes the opportunity to visit her former physics teacher who helped her start a career on the international scene. An important step for her, but not that easy to make, at a time when English had not yet become her language of choice.
Ça fait raviver les mauvais souvenirs.
Quel mauvais souvenir.
Lorsque vous m'avez fait pleurer dans ce bureau à cause de cette langue-là,
Oui, parce qu'il fallait qu'on fasse le test. Tu avais le niveau intermédiaire. Donc j'avais dit, tu as le niveau intermédiaire, il faut que tu t'appliques pour ton anglais parce que c'est important. Tu ne pourras pas travailler en Afrique du Sud que...
J'adhère.
Ouais.
C'est indispensable même.
Et comme tu m'avais dit, moi je vais m'appliquer. Tu as pleuré. Donc, j'ai quand même donné la lettre de motivation et tu as été recruté.
Je ne vous aimais pas beaucoup, hein?
En ce moment où l'approche genre est prisée par tout le monde, je pense que c'est bien de savoir qu'il y a des femmes qui peuvent faire ce que les hommes peuvent faire. Donc c'est ce que Zara a montré en essayant d'être excellente en astronomie. Et pour être excellente, elle est vraiment excellente. Je suis fier d'elle.
Merci beaucoup. Ça me touche venant de quelqu'un que j'ai vraiment été... What is my word? J'étais vraiment effrayée de voir avoir ce genre d'éloge. Ça me touche et me pousse à faire de mon mieux, briser les barrières et upscale.
Zara continues to break down barriers and hopes to end the prejudices that are still entrenched on the continent.
In my spare time, I also love to inspire young women, and that is why I founded the Ikala STEM Association. Ikala, which is a typical word to determine woman, and STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Tout débute par la curiosité et puis vient la passion. D'autre part, les accomplissements de nombreuses illustres femmes scientifiques et leurs contributions doivent inspirer la jeune génération.
The whole vision came ever since I left the country, because sometimes as I did my study, I kind of getting lost. I didn't have a role model, and I wanted to be that role model for those girls. So through association like Ikala STEM, we try to push the women that they can do anything they want to, as long as they have the dream.
Zara has found a way to pass on her passion for astronomy and women's rights. While she's home, she also visits her proud parents.
Zara, tonga soa.
Avy tany amin'ny collège aho.
Tonga soa. Ay.
Dia
inona no atao tany?
Nanao fanentanana momba ny resaka siansa atao amin'ny ankizy. Avy tany amin'ny collège aho dia nanao fanentanana tao.
Dia betsaka ny olona, betsaka ny ankizy.
Atao amin'ny classe de seconde.
Ay. Série scientifique ihany.
Ny seconde mbola tsisy, mbola vao neutre fa rehefa eo amin'ny première vao hoe série C sa série S. Nga tsy misotro rano.
Tsy tia misotro rano.
Neny nga tsy misotro.
Au primaire, surtout en classe de 9e, elle a eu la moyenne de 19,5 sur 20. L'année scolaire vient, on achète des fournitures et elle prend les nouveaux cahiers. Elle ramasse toujours les stylos. Quand le stylo est terminé, elle garde, elle ramasse. Nous sommes fiers d'avoir Zara car elle est un peu timide lors de son enfance. Mais maintenant, c'est tout à fait différent.
For Zara, education and school are essential for finding her way.
Tu te souviens lorsque mes parents doivent venir parce que j'étais un peu...
sans les institutrices, c'est la base. L'éducation, c'est la base. Et je crois vraiment que grâce à tous ces enseignants, à partir de la classe de 12e, qui a façonné ma façon de raisonner et tout que j'utilise et que pour le bien de mon travail. Alors, merci beaucoup.
De rien.
Merci beaucoup. Toutes les fois que je viens à Madagascar, je fais une petite sensibilisation, mais surtout avec la classe de seconde et première, parce que c'est la classe où tout se joue. Est-ce qu'elle va devenir scientifique ou littéraire? Et des fois, c'est un manque de confiance pour faire la décision. Et c'est là que la sensibilisation est importante. The more you teach, the more you transmit, the more you are expert in your field. And that's the thing everyone should remember, that you don't just learn and keep it for yourself. Go out there. There are so many people that are thirsty of your knowledge. You just go there, get your team, because there are so many passionate people just like you. Identify it, look for an objective together, a vision together, and make a change in your community.
Zara's motivation is first and foremost that of the heart. She's proud to be from Madagascar, and today she wants to give back what she received.
When I grew up in Madagascar, as a child, I always remember that I was writing a dictionary. We didn't have one. My grandfather did have one, but he loves playing Scrabble, which means he needs the dictionary with him constantly. But myself too, I really wanted to learn French, so I kept borrowing his dictionary. At a certain point that he just yelled at me that I need it. So each time I borrow, I started to write down, like, let me have my own dictionary. Let me use just like a very plain sheet and start from A, B. I never finished my dictionary, but I had this perception that I want to have my own.
Inareo nahita volana amin'ny alina? Ina koa mifantatra eo? Dia zao ty masoandro ty io masoandro io. Masoandro miposaka izy dia manina koa? Milentika. Sady zany?
Milentika, mena be.
Ie. Dia rehefa maraina ny andro dia izy miposaka?
Atinana.
Ie, dia izy miletika. Izy izao le.
Andre.
Ie. It is important that we reach to so many more people, especially those in remote and rural areas. Because if we inspire a kid that there are so many things that you can do by looking at the sky, surely she or he may think, okay, I need to invest more and be serious in the education, not just like wake up and I'm doing it because my parents tell me to do it, but have a purpose in whatever you do at an early age.
In 2018, Zara participated for the first time in a symposium organized by the world-renowned International Astronomical Union on behalf of her country. Madagascar was officially entering the very closed circle of countries that govern the world of stars and try to answer questions of the laws of the universe.
When you say universe, we are just this tiny little person, and by thinking of that, we should humble ourselves
And we should really be grateful that that's the world of astronomy. There are a lot to study out there, because just this little patch of the sky we see here, there are thousands of stars, and then galaxies, hundreds of galaxies. Right now, as we are talking, galaxies are colliding few light years away. So we will never run out of things to do. We just need more new researchers to help to unravel the mystery of the universe. It has a lot that we can discover.
Yes, there is still so much to discover and so much to do on our planet. Today, Africa is becoming a generator of knowledge, innovation and creativity. The knowledge-based development model is a new territory. Having a young, creative, skilled and educated population where women conquer their place in science can lead to a large-scale transformation of the continent. And what if the new Einstein were indeed an African woman? Only the future will tell.